Today we have Dani Wexelman. So she's a broadcaster for ESPN, MLB Network Radio on Sirius XM, and an analyst for SNY. Dani, are you alive from the World Series?
We're live. Our heart is beating. Slower than normal, actually. I've only had one cup of coffee today. But we're back alive. Yeah. I'm so happy that it's over. I'm kind of sad that it's over too. And always excited to get to see you, Laura, and talk some ball and maybe some St. Louis with Cole. But yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, this is going to be great. I mean, like I watched this series vicariously and the highs and lows were incredible just from somebody completely removed from the situation. What was it like to actually be there and kind of, especially I think in Toronto where it felt like the fans were they were living and dying with every pitch.
Yeah, so I was split. My series was split. So I did the games in Toronto and then Jenny Kavnar did the games out in LA. And so I got to kick off the World Series and I had been there for the ALCS, right? So I had done all 7 for ALCS. So I had gotten a really good taste of what the city was going to be like, what the fans were going to be like, but this was a completely different level. I actually was unprepared for what the city would feel like and what those fans would look like
Mhm.
watching these games. And we forget, I think we're in New York. I'm from St. Louis. I'm spoiled growing up watching playoff baseball and assuming that the Cardinals would be playing in October. And then being in New York for the last 11 years, one of the teams in New York is most likely playing October baseball. And
Yeah.
so you forget what it's like when a fan base is starved for playoff baseball and what it means to a city, and in the Jays case it's actually the entire country.
Right.
So they exceeded my expectations. I didn't know what it would look like and feel like, and I couldn't hear myself think. The building was shaking for so many different moments throughout the World Series, and they've packed it to the brim. Like, I was over the moon with how they showed up in full force. And actually, for game 7, it was the most expensive ticket in Canadian sports history, right? And think about it. It's a hockey country. It's a hockey town. It's not a baseball country.
Yeah.
Maybe not yet. Maybe it's starting to convert a little bit, but I would say like 12 out of 10, the expectations and the moment and the experience. Like, Laura, I will never forget like 2025 World Series and my time spent in Toronto, and seeing those fans at least get to have that experience.
Yeah, I feel like there were two kind of like emotional points towards the end of that game. One, Yamamoto doing what he did and being able to come back out there and basically with his rubber arm, and the other, the heartbreak of the Jays fans as they saw kind of their hopes get dashed. I mean, the duality of that. I mean, what was your experience like, and what did you observe there?
Yeah. So here's what's unique is that with radio, we knew no matter what game 7, we're doing a post-game show on the field.
Yeah.
And so my producer and myself are actually in the tunnel below on the first base side. We go down in the 8th. And so I obviously knew where things were shaking out. The Jays had the lead, right? And then all of a sudden in the 9th inning, not only do you have one out and the Jays are 2 outs away, right, from their third titles, their first since 93. There's a lot of anxious feelings, there's excitement. I'm watching the media side of things. I can see the TV, I can hear the fans, and then you hear nothing. And then the TV's delayed, and then you see that the 9-hole hitter in Miguel Rojas ties the ball game up off of Jeff Hoffman, by the way, who had started to figure things out down the stretch. He was almost unhittable in the postseason. And so you have a lot of trust in him. And then you go to extras, and then you see that the game 6 starter, the winning pitcher in Yoshinobu Yamamoto, is coming out of the pen. And we had questioned whether he'd be available because he wasn't really available after the 18-inning marathon, right? He kind of was, but Dave Roberts had said Miguel Rojas was going to come in. Yamamoto was like, no way that we're going to end this game with a position player pitching. Like,
Seriously.
yeah, he earned a new fan in me after that moment. I'll tell you that. But he comes in the game and he had no rest. He had pitched the night before, and then you start to get nervous
Yeah.
and you start to wonder, are the Jays going to be able to pull this out? Okay, they're going to walk it off. And then Will Smith with the moment, and Will Smith, who had been moved up in the lineup because let's be really honest. The Dodgers didn't win this with their offense. They
Right.
won this, and I this is not an original thought of me, but they won this by hiding all of their weaknesses. And that was their bullpen and the bottom of their order, which ironically ended up coming up big for them in game 7. And then to see Yamamoto close it out, we run onto the field and it's the, the agony of defeat, and you're seeing a Jays team that was better than the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Everybody knew that the Blue Jays were better than the Dodgers in the World Series in almost every way. And it ends up being the Dodgers who Dave Roberts, pulls the right strings, and the guys come up clutch that you don't expect. It's an insane emotion. I don't think I've come down from it, and I still kind of can't believe that the Jays were 2 outs away in the ninth, and you have
Yeah.
the bottom of the lineup coming to the plate, and they don't get it done. Like, that will sit with you, and that will haunt you. Like, this is a haunting loss
Yes.
for the fan base. Like, that's the only way I can put it. An absolute nightmare, and something you don't want to wake up from. But I will say, I think that baseball has been revived a little bit. I think that the excitement around it's been like it's an injection that I think we've been missing and Canada's been missing. But you feel for them. The Jays were lovable. I loved getting to talk to those guys pregame for 2 weeks and share their stories, and they were kind with their time. And they were really damn good. And so that this one will hurt for a long time, but huge congrats to the Dodgers for finding a way.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
bad guy wins sometimes.
I mean,
And
The
it
best team doesn't always win. We know that in baseball.
I
We
saw
for
the
sure know
Dodgers
that.
hit like what 203 that whole series
Barely.
and
Barely.
still managed to win. I mean, to your point, Danny, that is a nightmare that you got to wake up from at some point, but I think the entire fan base is just trapped in it right now.
Mm.
And thank God it's hockey season, I suppose, because now they can all
Yeah.
turn the page on that. But
right, because the
yeah,
Oilers would never hurt them.
I mean, like, not to bring it back to the Cardinals, but also to bring it back to the Cardinals. In 2011, the Rangers were right there, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, 2 strikes, and David Freese ties the game and then ends up winning it in that game 6. But
Mhm.
the Rangers won, or the Rangers lost the year before, and then they get back in
Mhm.
2011, and they're 1 strike away,
Brutal.
and then the rest is history. But I guess they won a decade later, so
But
great.
that's
But
exactly what you're talking about. We only know it as a fan because I was a fan then. I wouldn't say I'm as big of a fan now. I
right,
think
right, right,
I'm
right,
removed
right,
from
right.
that. We got the elation side. We got the celebratory side. We got the I'll never stop talking about 2011 for the rest of my life side.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
think
like
about the
but it's
Rangers.
so far away now. It's like, is this the only memory? Like, hopefully, this isn't the only memory I as a fan have of the Cardinals for the rest of my life. Like, it's great. You know what? It's awesome seeing all these baseball accounts in late October, post like on this day, like even like, the Mets, Boston, whoever. It's like on this day, like we won the World Series, blah 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 blah. But then, a year after year after year, it's just the same thing getting posted. And you're like, okay, but we're 14 years away from 2011, and then, next year, and then next year. I guess what I'm heading towards is hopefully the Jays fans don't have to,
I don't think they
keep looking
will.
back on the 90s, and it's like, okay, this is yeah, we're still,
Yeah.
and then like, oh, we had this amazing run, and that's the only thing we can hang our hat on for a while. Like, will they
No.
be back next year? It's so hard. It's such a, 162 games, and you got to win the playoffs. And then,
Yeah. Yeah. And they're losing guys, right? They lose Shane Bieber to free agency, Bo
Right.
Bichette to free agency, Max Scherzer to free agency. They're losing some big guys. Bo, I think, might be like the most important. They rented Shane for moments like this. Max was a 1 year guy always. Don't be surprised to see Max go to San Francisco to meet up with Tony Vitello. Those two have
He
known
does
each
not want
other.
to retire.
Yeah. Tony
a little
recruited
St. Louis
Max.
connection there.
Tony recruited Max to Mizzou. Hunter Mentz, also the assistant hitting coach there for the Blue Jays. Tony Tony and Max and Hunter have known each other since their college days. So yeah, they're losing some pieces. But here's the thing: once you get a taste, the Jays were top 5 in luxury tax payroll this year. Like the Jays spend money, you just don't know it because no one's talking
Yeah,
about
there
it.
was this like, oh, the small, everyone's like the small ball. What are you
Yeah, and
talking
they
about
almost had
that?
Otani too. I mean, they, oh, the
Yes.
flight, the plane flight to
I don't think
Toronto.
but never mind. Sorry, go
The
ahead.
Jays will spend. The Jays will spend, and they're hell bent on it. And they saw it now with their fans, how much their fans are willing to spend. So I have a good feeling that it's going to be similar this offseason. And the other thing too, and you guys know this, is what can you offer me as a player? I think guys more than ever now want to know their families are taken care of, and that there's these luxury items that are available to them. The Blue Jays do that. Like every guy talked about the family room and how well their families were taken care of. And it's a culture unlike any other. And you just don't know it because you're not talking about the Jays. You can't watch the Jays in the United States. That's why nobody knew what their offense looked like, because you could only see it on paper,
Yeah.
right? And so there's something to be said about an organization that's taking care of your family. Guys want to be a part of that. Guys, they really do. I think that's important to them. So they'll be in it. Can they win it again? The division? I don't know, but they're going to be in the thick of it. I think so.
And it's interesting. It did feel like for a long time, free agents would kind of almost use the Jays to kind of prop up other teams. And then like, oh, yeah, we're definitely going to go, we're going to talk with Toronto. And they would never seem to, it was like, oh, is the bridesmaid never the bride situation with the
Yes.
Jays. But now being exposed on an,
Well, yeah.
not
Do you know how annoying it is to get a
on a huge
passport? I mean,
scale.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
kidding.
that's got to be the least of the problem.
Yeah,
Like, that's got to be low on the
Toronto
list.
is a beautiful city. I mean,
I'm
for
telling you,
yeah,
like the way that that organization took care of those
Yeah.
players, like don't underestimate the power of that, especially like, I get to cover kids in high school and college more than ever. They're clinging to those things. Like that's a priority for them at a young age. That will continue to be the trend, I think, when they get drafted and become pros.
It's a fascinating thing. And like, I mean, we're talking a little bit about baseball growing on an international level, and this World Series was definitely indicative of that, both with the Japanese players and with, obviously the entire country of Canada being so heavily involved in this. But as it's growing and as you have this iconic postseason run, you also have this huge kind of like specter of a possible lockout in 2027. So, I mean, do you feel like something like this, where like, okay, growing the game, going in the right direction, could that be an impetus to maybe try to stave off a lockout, or are the issues too thorny at this point where a lockout is inevitable?
Gosh, it gives me heartburn just to
Yeah.
think about the idea of like our sport going in an upwards trajectory, and then the idea that in 12 short months that it could be stopped, and the progress that's been made. And don't forget, the World Baseball Classic is in a few months. So
Yeah.
you're talking about the global sport like within Major League Baseball, and then we get to expand it once again. Remember how electric it was 4 years ago, and we're circled back, and you just saw the Japanese stars, right? You also saw Alejandro Kirk, who represents Mexico. We had Venezuela and Puerto Rico and the Dominican all represented in this, the best of the best on our stage. And so I am concerned that even if we have all of these things going for us, that there is this idea, and Dave Roberts said it, and I was surprised to hear Dave say that on the biggest stage, that the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Let's win 4 more and really ruin it. I was surprised
That was
to
what
hear
a
him say
quote.
that. That's going to be the quote of the century. I truly think. I mean, when you
or
look at
Blake
where
Snell saying, "If you can't beat them, join them."
join him and Tyler Glass now, yeah. And here's the thing: is like, we forget like Freddie. The Braves could have signed Freddie. The Red Sox could have signed Mookie, right? There's a ton of guys. I could go on and on. There's a long list. I think that there were reports that Otani really wanted to play in Seattle, right? Because of Ichiro and the history and the intertwined um, culture there. And so there's opportunities, right? Let's remember too, the Dodgers have already made back their 700 million.
Right.
June Lee reported that, right? They've already done that. Any team, if you told any team in the league that within 1 year you would make back that money, and now you're not spending your own dollars, in fact, it's sponsors and everybody else who's now paying Otani's a salary, you would do that in a heartbeat. And so, like, a lot of things that the Dodgers do, are they a little unfair? Yeah, they are. We could talk about floors and ceilings all day long. And even though there's so many great things about what we just witnessed, within the postseason. Let's be honest, like it was magnetic. Every part of it was magnetic. Like I have people who don't watch baseball texting me, they're staying up late watching these games. Like you fall in love, and that's what's so special about our sport. We're finally at that place. But I think that there, the 1%, the 2% of players that are making exorbitant amounts of money and teams that aren't trying to win, there's a lot of, as you said, Laura, all of these issues. I don't know if the love of the sport and the excitement of the sport is enough to overcome what is frustrating a lot of people. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, personally, I think, we had Buck Showalter on last week, and he was just like, I
Saw
wish
that.
I could get into a room with all these people and have tell them all about 1994 and what it did to the sport and
Yeah.
how difficult it was to get those fans back. Because in 95 and 96, there it was a struggle.
Yeah.
And I think an extended lockout, while I feel like we're more cynical people now, and we probably don't have the idealism of 1994, we're just like, how could baseball do this to us? I do think it would be a huge blow. But it doesn't seem, just talking to people in the industry, like anyone knows how to avoid it.
No.
It
No,
just,
how do you? How do you, right? Because like
The
people
Dodgers had
are
to lose.
yeah, I don't think that, and it wouldn't matter though, right? Because the Jays are top five in payroll. Like it's
yeah,
not the Brewers, it's not the Reds, it's not the Tigers. The Jays spend a lot of money. They spent 500 mil on Vladdy. Like that's the thing. I will say a stoppage in the sport where it's at, especially at coming off a World Baseball Classic ahead of the Olympics. Don't forget, baseball's coming back in 2028, right? Ahead of that could do severe damage to where we're at. People are already stretched for dollars, right? Don't forget the fans. Like to me, the fans are the most important part here. The fans suffer the most. It's not anybody else, it's the fans, the people who actually spend their money to watch the game. Maybe you don't, there are things that you give up, that you sacrifice in your personal life. We don't think about it because we get credentials to whatever we want. We're
right.
not thinking about what it takes to buy a ticket and then spend at the ballpark. Like, the fans will suffer, and that's the worst part because you can't always win them back.
No, no, you
And
break
there's
that.
other sports to claw them in. Like you don't think that the NFL, NHL, MLS, whoever
Good point.
will seize this opportunity to be like, oh, look at these guys, rich, greedy, and even though, God, billionaire
Yeah.
corporation
Whatever,
for
yeah.
the NFL. But anyway, it's like you don't think these leagues are gonna take advantage of that? They absolutely will with the way marketing and strategy is set up these days. Uh, I fear the lockout as well as anybody else. I think next year will be pivotal. And if the Dodgers get back to the World Series and hit this trifecta, I think a lot of people will watch the World Series, maybe not to root for the Blue Jays, but to root against the Dodgers. And I don't think that's a bad thing either. Leagues need villains, the Patriots, the Chiefs, whoever you want to roll into that. And I think that's also fun to watch because then the next year you're like, oh, okay, we'll get them next year, we'll get them next year, and that draws fans in. But even to halt that momentum, like to circle back to the point, would be disastrous for us.
Can I
Yeah.
tell you something so interesting too, you guys? In my neighborhood, the coffee place I go to, huge Yankees fans, the guys who run it and work it and own it. and um and I have a lot of friends who are Yankees fans, right? And I'm like, you're gonna root for the Jays, right? Like you don't want why would you want the Dodgers to win? Like, aren't they your arch nemesis?
I
And
beat you last year.
they're rooting for the Dodgers. They
Yeah,
all rooted for the Dodgers. And I'm
yeah.
like, I don't understand. Like, I do a show on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Mike Babchek is one of the co-hosts with Damon and Mandalora. They have the early show, and Babs is rooting for the Dodgers. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're rooting for the Dodgers? It doesn't make any sense to me. And so I think it does tell me though that it's not just a evil versus good. Not like I think there's more to it, which then maybe gives me hope that we can get this sorted and that we won't necessarily miss baseball and there won't be a lockout. Like I'm going to hold out. I'm going to try to be optimistic here. I want to err on the side of that
I'm
and
so
hope.
happy. You're the first baseball guest who's been so
Yeah.
optimistic about the lockout.
Yeah, I want to be because I genuinely do feel like we're all pulling the same rope and we see where this sport is going and how hard. Like I remember back when I started working for MLB.com, it was in 2014. And we didn't have that many faces of the game, or at least they weren't marketed, right?
Yeah.
It was Mike Trout and it was Aaron
End of life.
Judge,
Yeah.
and that was it. And
Yeah.
I remember I brought this up the other day. I remember when Stephen A. Smith said that you can't be the face of a league if you don't speak English, right? And here we are, and I feel like where our sport is at is such an incredible spot, and we've worked so hard to get it here, that in the year 2026, do we really, really want to stop what we've done? So I feel like there's a lot of people who have that mentality more so than, yes, we want to stop it. We want to make sure that baseball doesn't continue until things are the way that we want them exactly. It's never going to be perfect. It's not
Right.
black and white. There's no perfect answer, but I think we just all need to keep pulling the rope in the same direction.
And I guess just for my last baseball question, a little bit to that point, how
Yeah.
do you think the possibility of a stoppage will affect free agency in terms of contracts, in terms of even coaching, like coaching contracts and things like that? And, like right now, your future is very much in flux.
I think that this year, like this off season coming up in the next 3 months, you're going to see some wild things happen because of that. I think that there's going to be teams, particularly the teams, the top five that spend, who will maybe be spending a little bit more to get things locked up, right? They don't
Yeah.
want to have to deal with that if there is a work stoppage and try to figure out what direction their organization is going and what players are available and how much they're going to cost. I think they're going to lock things up now. So I think it's going to be maybe one of the wilder hot stove seasons that we've seen in a while because of
Already.
that. Yeah, I just think that
Get your
teams are going to
Twitter
try to,
fingers ready.
yeah.
Love that.
I am not a Twitter. I don't even tweet anymore, you guys, just to let you know. It is such a scary place these days. But yes, I do think it's going to be like the
What?
Wild
Twitter?
West.
No, come
Yeah,
on.
Twitter. People on Twitter scare me, but yeah, I don't know. Laura, I think it's going to be unprecedented what we see this offseason because the impending or the idea of a lockout is coming.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
My, I guess, last baseball question before we get into some fun St. Louis stuff. Uh, Speaking of the hot stove, who do you think are the more like coveted free agents? Yeah, this offseason, and priority wise, pitching or they're more like
Yeah.
hitters on the market.
I'll start with what I just saw in the World Series. And so I'll start with Bo Bichette first.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of a surprise to some people, but people forget he led his team in hits and RBIs this season, right? A team that has George Springer and Vlad Guerrero Jr. on it. Bo Bichette led. If you look at his career, he's been really consistent. He's missed some time with injuries, but this is a guy who knows how to hit. He knows how to hit so well, in fact, that he played the World Series with a sprained PCL. That's his left knee, right? He obviously couldn't run and he really couldn't play the field that well. And he still had some of the most iconic moments in the World Series. He missed like 7 weeks. Like he's going to be a premier name on the market. Teams will overpay for him. What's fascinating is where he'll go position wise. I think he's a better second baseman than shortstop. He can play shortstop, but it'll be his bat that they covet. And what he did this year was really special. He's locked in and he's done it consistently. So that tells me that he will get paid handsomely for what he's done. I also think Shane Bieber is going to be a huge name on the market this year. I mean, coming back from Tommy John, able to pitch in the World Series, able to pitch in the ALCS, and he had some pretty important moments. He wasn't perfect the whole time, but the fact that he went out there and shoved, the fact that he came out of the pen, like he was kind of willing to do whatever. I think he showcased a lot of different things. And it was funny. We talked to him pregame one day, and one of my co hosts said, "You look like the old Shane Bieber." And he
Mm.
quickly said, "I'm not the old Shane Bieber. I'm just Shane Bieber. I'm still Shane Bieber." And I loved that.
Yeah.
And he's still got a lot of fight left in him. I think those two games. Freddie Peralta, not a free agent, but we know the Brewers are willing to offload guys ahead of their free agent years. I'm pretty high on Freddie Peralta right now. I think that I think he's top three. I'm not going to say he's the best free agent starting pitcher, or not free agent, but available starting pitcher.
Yeah.
He's a guy I have my eyes on as well.
Well, that's good.
Shane
Good my homework for me.
Bieber.
Thank you.
Shane Bieber
Yeah.
coming off Tommy John, not perfect. I don't know. Could look good with the birds on the bat on his chest. But we'll probably
Could be.
re-sign Miles Michaelis.
Cole's not salty at all.
No.
Not
Cole's
so,
not
no, you
salty at
can't,
No,
all.
there's our answer.
not a hint of
Thanks.
bitterness.
Thanks. The Heim Bloom era is starting. Okay. St. Louis stuff.
Yeah.
kind of our favorite thing. Well, my
Let's do
favorite
it.
thing to ask Laura. Where are we, Danny, on toasted ravioli?
12 out of 10,
Yeah.
inject toasted raviolis
Yeah.
into my veins. Never
Yeah.
go home and never make a visit without getting T-Ravs.
That's
I'm
right.
obsessed. I
Ridiculous.
will eat them hot. I will eat them cold. I love them more than life itself.
Okay, I will
And
say,
let's hear Laura's thoughts
Yeah, Laura, what do you
because
got, girl?
oh, they're an Italian hate crime. Um, that being said, I say that as an Italian. That being
True,
said,
true.
I made toasted ravioli with my own meat sauce,
And
and they came out pretty good. So I think that was the first attempt. I am going to try them again.
okay,
Next time we're on SNY, if I know you're going to be on, I'm going to bring some in,
please,
and
please.
then you can taste my toasted ravioli,
I'll
which
love them. I
yeah,
know I'll love them. I'm not a picky eater. Again, like I
yeah,
prefer
it's
most
pretty hard.
things
It's just
cold.
deep fry some ravioli, throw some marinara on it. It's pretty.
ravioli are fine the way they are. They
It's
don't.
so good. No, no, deep fried, deep fried.
Laura,
All
we
right.
don't have much in St. Louis, okay? Like give us something. We don't have a lot, okay?
We're on the upswing, I hope. Uh, favorite pizza joint outside of Emo's?
Uh, none. Emos. There's not
Oh,
an outside. Yeah, it's Emos. It's
okay.
the only pizza I
Well,
eat in St. Louis. Like if I go to the Hill or if my family like no, like it's Emos. It's Emos or something at the Hill. If I'm eating an Italian place at the Hill and someone wants to get pizza, then that's great. But that's it for me. Like I and also like when I go home, I'm probably we're ordering pizza one night.
Right.
That's about it.
Yeah.
We're going to some other places that I really like to eat at, but it's emos for me. Like it's just always gonna be emos. Like bury me in emos. I'm a St. Louis girl through and through.
uh, you want to know what? This is your opinion, and as a valued guest, I will
You
keep
still
myself.
love me, right? You still love me.
I love you so
Despite my
more than
flaws.
emos.
Despite my flaws, you still love me. I understand. It's
No,
more
no,
for
no.
me. Laura, it's more for me.
I get
Is
that.
uh is Ted Drew's on your list of favorite things in St.
I
Louis?
won't so I'm pretty my mom is pretty far from Ted Drew's in St. Louis. And so
Okay.
like for me to make a trip there is pretty rare,
Right.
but like it they do like sell it in our grocery stores. Shout out to Schnucks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
little Schnucks grocery store
There
action.
you
My
go.
mom will
Some
sometimes get it for
Deerbergs?
me.
Yeah.
Deerberg, Schnucks. My mom will get me Ted Drew's and stock the fridge for me. And so we'll
I've
eat it
probably
that
only
way.
had it about like 5 times in my life because
I
yeah,
don't
both
know.
locations are pretty like you're from West County, I'm from West County,
Yeah.
are pretty far.
It's
But it is
really good
good. It
though.
is delicious.
It's really good. Laura, have you had it?
You guys could be taught making stuff up just to mess with me, and I would have no idea. I had absolutely no clue what any of this is. And
It really is good, guys
Really
and gals.
good.
all right.
Yeah.
Next year when I'm in St. Louis covering the Cardinals, I'm going to
Yeah.
need a full punch list. I already tried the ooey gooey butter
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 chicken
cake.
cake.
You like
Yeah.
that?
thing,
Divine.
Yeah.
Divine.
but I will do a full second St. Louis tour because I did the first St. Louis tour the last time I was there.
It's pretty fitting.
Yeah.
We're a little out of the box. And not everybody, we're not for everybody, and that's okay. That's okay.
That's
Pappy's Barbecue, I think, is for everybody.
Happy's is
Shout
exceptional.
out to those guys. So Laura,
Love
next time
Happy's.
you're there,
I will go to all the places and
yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah. We'll give a
be
good
brave
list of recommendations.
gastrointestinal distress. So
Bring some Tums.
Yeah,
well, Danny, thank you so, so much for coming on. This was awesome. And I will see
Absolutely.
you. I'm sure I will see you either at SNY or at a ballpark near you eventually.
Yes. Happy off season, my friends. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you. And please get some rest.
yeah. Or also, Danny, where can people find you if they want to read your stuff or watch you or?
Oh yeah. I'm on Sunday, every Sunday, 1 to 4 Eastern on MLB Network Radio. That's Sirius XM 89. So every
Cool.
Sunday I'll be there talking it up. Cole Tucker has been a co-host recently, Trevor May as well. So it's a good time. That's usually where I'm at. And then somewhere with Laura, somewhere on SNY at some point. So we'll have a great off season.
We will. It's going to be great. All right.
Very cool, guys. Thank you
Take
so
care.
much, Danny.
Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, guys. Of course. Thank you for having